Roman holiday. Roman holiday 1953, then and today. The story is a royal princess Anne who learns to understand her duties through an encounter with a cynic news reporter, Joe Bradley. Roman Holiday first opened at Radio City Music Hall in New York City on August 27, 1953. In its first month's U.S. box office, it grossed nearly $1 million, second only to the blockbuster of the year From Here to Eternity. Roman Holiday was especially popular in Great Britain, where moviegoers believed it was inspired by the tabloid scandal of royal Princess Margaret with a commoner, Peter Townsend. However, the Roman Holiday script was done a decade before, long before Princess Margaret's relationship was made public. The film was by William Wyler, 1902 to 1981, a German-born American director and producer for nearly 5 decades. He holds the record of 12 nominations for the Academy Awards for Best Director, including Jezebel, 1938, Wuthering Heights, 1939, The Westerner, 1940, and The Best Years of Our Lives, 1946. He would go on to direct such classics as Ben-Hur, 1959, The Children's Hour, 1961, and Funny Girl, 1968. Wyler considered British actresses Elizabeth Taylor and Jean Simmons for the Princess Anne role, but both were unavailable when the film would start shooting. While in Rome preparing for Roman Holiday, Wyler received a screen test of Audrey Hepburn. He immediately wrote that she was perfect. No ass, no tits, no tight-fitting clothes, no high heels. In short, a Martian. She will be a sensation. Although born in Belgium in 1929, Audrey Hepburn had British citizenship through her father and attended boarding school in England as a child. At the onset of World War II, Hepburn's mother and Audrey moved back to the Netherlands, believing they would be safe. Instead, the family endured hardships in Nazi-occupied Holland. Audrey would later help the underground resistance. At the war's end, Hepburn studied ballet at the Arnhem Conservatory. Roman Holiday would be Audrey's first appearance in an American film. In 1948, she was on stage as a chorus girl and had a few minor roles in Dutch and British films. For those wondering, Audrey Hepburn and Katharine Hepburn are not related. They simply share the same last name. William Wyler first offered the Joe Bradley role to Cary Grant, who declined because he knew all of the attention would be centered around the princess. Other sources say Grant believed he was too old to play the part as Hepburn's love interest. He would do so 10 years later in Charade, and after finishing the film, Grant reportedly said, "All I want for Christmas is to make another movie with Audrey Hepburn." After Grant turned down the role, Wyler offered the role to Gregory Peck. Peck, like Grant, believed it was only a supporting role. However, Peck's last box office hit had been 3 years before for The Snows of Kilimanjaro, and he was privately depressed about his separation from his first wife. Weiler convinced Peck that the on-site filming in Rome would do him good. He would meet and later marry Veronique Pisani, who happened to interview him about Roman Holiday. Gregory Peck would follow Roman Holiday with other iconic films, including Moby Dick, 1956, The Big Country, 1958, On the Beach, 1959, The Guns of Navarone, 1961, and To Kill a Mockingbird, 1962. Eddie Albert, as photographer Irving Radovich, received for his role the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. He would receive a second Best Supporting Actor award for Heartbreak Kid in 1972. He was best known starring in the television sitcom Green Acres from 1965 to 1971 and returned to Green Acres 1990. He also played Frank McBride in the crime drama series Switch from 1975 to 1978. When the film opened in 1955, it received critical acclaim. The New York Times observed that it was a natural, tender, and amusing yarn, with laughs that leave the spirits soaring. Milton Lubin of The Hollywood Reporter said at the time, the movie proves a charming, laugh-provoking affair that often explodes in hilarity. It has a delightful screenplay that sparkles with wit and outrageous humor that at times comes close to slapstick, and that the cinematographers do a fine job of incorporating Roman landmarks into the storyline. 66 years later, Lubin's view of the film was unchanged, with Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn's performances. Roman Holiday is 118 minutes of sheer entertainment. During production, Peck insisted that Hepburn's name be above the title of the film in the opening credits, just beneath his. He told his agent, I'm smart enough to know this girl's going to win the Oscar in her first picture, and I'm going to look like a damn fool if her name is not up there with mine. Peck was prophetic. Hepburn was the first actress to win an Oscar, a Golden Globe Award, and a BAFTA Award for a single performance in her Roman Holiday role. That year, she also won a Tony Award for Best Lead Actress in a Play for her performance in Ondine. Hepburn went on to star in a variety of films, such as Sabrina, 1954, Breakfast at Tiffany's and Children's Hour, 1961, Charade, 1963, My Fair Lady, 1964, and Wait Until Dark, 1967. Besides Audrey Hepburn winning the 1954 Academy Award for Best Actress, Roman Holiday won two other Academy Awards, one for Best Costume Design, Edith Head, and Best Story, written by Dalton Trumbull and John Dighton. Dalton Trumbull, as a Hollywood blacklisted, was not credited for this work until 1993, 18 years after he died. Weiler insisted Roman Holiday be filmed on location in Rome rather than in a Hollywood studio backlot. He felt that the true spirit of Rome are the people on its streets, grand historic buildings, and stunning monuments. All were crucial to the story. It would be more visually compelling since most American movie viewers had never been to Rome. Paramount reluctantly agreed to the Rome location only after Wyler agreed to make the film in black and white rather than costly color. The film was shot completely on location throughout the city of Rome or in Rome's Cinecittà film studio. From the film's opening, the overhead shot of the Vatican, audiences marveled the sight of Rome. Today, 70 years later, people still flock to see the locations the film featured. The population in Rome in 1953 was about 2 million. In 2023, it was 4 million. Visitors to Rome in 2023 was nearly 35 million. Today, the Vatican attracts over 6 million visitors annually, many just to see Michelangelo's painting on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, making this the most visited tourist attraction in Rome. In 2025, the Vatican will be overwhelmed, expecting 35 million visitors. It will be a jubilee year, a pilgrimage of Catholics to Rome, a tradition held every 25 years which began in 1300 AD. Less than 2 miles from the Vatican is the Roman Forum, at its height the power center of the Roman Empire. People from all parts of the world were drawn here. At the outer edge of the Roman Forum are the Colosseum, where gladiators battled, and the Circus Maximus with chariot races. Both provided entertainment for the populace. The Roman Forum serves as a natural location for two strangers from vastly different worlds to first meet. The scene takes place in front of the Arch of Septimius Severus. Today it is blocked off from vehicle drive-by. Joe takes Princess Anne home, later to discover her true identity. Princess Anne left Joe to explore Rome on her own. She wanders aimlessly. She comes across Trevi Fountain, known to capture visitors' heart to love Rome. Fontana de Trevi, Trevi Fountain, was initially designed for Pope Clemens XII in 1629. It was not built until after a redesign by the architect Nicola Salvi in 1732. The fountain was finally completed in 1782. Supposedly, a nearby barber incessantly criticized Salvi about the design and construction of Trevi Fountain. Salvi died before the fountain was only half finished. However, Salvi made sure that the barber's view of the fountain was blocked with the Ace of Cups statue. Ironically, across from Trevi Fountain was another barber shop where Mario transformed Princess Anne with the boyish yet chic-looking haircut. Joe secretly follows Princess Anne, seen as his prize ticket, to capture a candid photo of the princess at Trevi Fountain. He uncharacteristically accosts the young girl for her camera. A year after the release of Roman Holiday, 20th Century Fox released Three Coins in the Fountain. Frank Sinatra's Singing Three Coins in the Fountain, expressly produced for the film, solidify the legend. According to this modified legend, keep your eyes closed and throw the coin into the water over your left shoulder using your right hand. The person who throws one coin will one day return to Rome. If you throw two coins in the fountain, you will find your love in Rome. Or 3 coins to get married. In the 1960 film Irma la Dolce Vita, Anita Ekberg lures Marcello Mastroianni and other male movie viewers into Trevi Fountain. Today, if you swim in it, the fine is up to €500. Trevi Fountain is now one of the most overcrowded, iconic attractions in Rome. Every week, the municipality of Rome cleans Trevi Fountain and collects €1.4 million annually. Most goes to a charity that helps poor families. Trevi Fountain will soon undergo further modifications to charge visitors a fee just to view it. Nearby Trevi Fountain is another iconic attraction, the Spanish Steps. Standing above the steps was the church Trinidad del Monte, founded by King Charles VIII of France in 1502, but wasn't completed until 1585 by the Vatican. The Roman obelisk was moved there in 1789, one of 13 Egyptian-inspired ones within the city. In 1629, below the church, the Fontana della Barca boat fountain was completed by Pietro Bernini with the help of his son Gian Lorenzo Bernini, who became Rome's leading architect and sculptor. According to legend, on Christmas Day in 1598, the Tiber River overflowed, carrying a boat right into the heart of Rome at the very spot of the completed fountain. In 1723, steps were added below the church, designed and built by Italians but funded by a French diplomat. The 135 steps led down to the boat fountain in the Spanish Square, where the Spanish embassy to the Holy See had been since 1647. The steps became commonly referred to as the Spanish Steps. To this day, the Spanish Steps is a popular meeting place, especially for tourists, in part to its depiction in Roman Holiday and in many other films that followed it. It's at the Spanish Steps where Joe accidentally runs into Princess Anne, taking to Rome by indulging in a gelato and holding a rose. Looking for love? The two agree to embark on a holiday around Rome. The two walk to the Pantheon, constructed to honor all the pagan gods. It was rebuilt in the 2nd century AD by Emperor Hadrian. The Pantheon has the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the world. The center oculus is wide open. On the day of the equinoxes, the sunlight rays shine through the oculus and illuminate the entrance door. The floor was engineered to drain away falling rainwater. Artists Raphael and Italian kings Vittorio Emanuele II and Umberto I and his wife are entombed within its walls. The Pantheon now charges admission to visit the inside of the building due to high maintenance, security of its valuable artifacts, and crowd size. Across from the Pantheon was the Café Rocco, where Princess Anne has breakfast with champagne and her first cigarette. Unbeknownst, she is being photographed by Irving Radovich. Joe and Princess Anne, along with Irving, went sightseeing Rome's historic monuments, including the Roman Colosseum, the largest amphitheater ever built, first opened 80 AD, rediscovered in 1944 AD. Another sightseeing stop is the dominating Victoriano monument, built between 1885 and 1935 to honor Vittorio Emanuele II, the first king of Italy from 1861 to 1878. While sightseeing, Joe and Princess Anne rode a Vespa, wasp in Italian, motor scooter, first manufactured in Italy just 9 years earlier than the film. The Roman holiday Vespa was metallic green, something that black and white film could not capture. In the film, the Vespa would take Joe and Princess Anne to the police station.
Il macello sono rovinato! Tutti con gommeri per terra, i ragazzini pensò a portare via tutto!
At the police station, Joe could have exposed Princess Anne's identity for his sensation story. Instead, he chose to hide the story with lies to the police and Princess Anne.
Service? What did he mean?
Huh? Oh, well, you say you're with the press, you can get away with anything.
Go to church to get married on a scooter. That's a hot one. Joe's a wonderful liar.
After the police station, the three travel to an 8th century church, Santa Maria in Cosmedian, for a view of the Mouth of Truth. The Mouth of Truth origin can be traced back to ancient times, possibly as a drain cover predating the 4th century BC. According to medieval tradition, the fearsome jaws of the Mouth of Truth would close upon the hand of anyone who told a lie, making it an intriguing place for Joe and Princess Anne. The Mouth of Truth is a storytelling device. Princess Anne and Joe are not being truthful to each other. The scene was improvised. Hepburn didn't know how the scene was coming. Peck and director Wilder intentionally left her out so her reaction would be more genuine. To this day, lines of adoring fans of the film still seek out the Mouth of Truth. Princess Anne and Joe, on the invitation from barber Mario, join him for a night of dancing aboard a barge on the Tiber River. Overshadowed the barge was the historic monument, the Castel Sant'Angelo, originally the mausoleum of Roman Emperor Hadrian, later a papal residence with an escape route connecting to the Vatican, then a prison, and now a national museum. After escaping from Anne's government agents, Joe and Princess Anne must decide what course each should follow.
Say, you were great back there.
You weren't so bad yourself.
The climatic scene occurs in the Palace Colonna, the grandest private palace in Rome that has remained in the possession of the family for over 20 generations. Inside the palace is the Sala Grande, where Princess Anne meets the press. The last 10 minutes is powerful. Little was said, only facial glances between Princess Anne and Joe. Photographer Irving now understands the situation and gives Princess Anne his valuable photos of her Rome visit. The final scene. Everyone comes to terms that everything is over but cherish a requited love and memory of Rome. Both Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn were amenable for a sequel, but nothing ever developed. The film was remade for television in 1987 with Tom Conti and Catherine Oxenberg, who herself a member of a European royal family. Through the years, there have been other versions of the movie made, even a few stage musicals, mostly in regional theaters. However, most critics have not found any as comparable to the original 1953 film. Roman Holiday, 1953. Thank you for watching. Roman Holiday.